Hello, everyone. I thought today I take a little bit of time to share with you literally an analogy between the human and the horse. And it's something I've been thinking about while playing with a really challenging mare here in Brazil. So I'll illustrate the situation for you. We currently have a horse here at our neighbor's place that has been severely abused. So through that abuse, what we see now in her behavior is a lot of fear and a lot of trauma, as well as a lot of learned behavior of coping with anything that reminds her even slightly of her past. And I was just thinking in these last few days as I'm playing with her and trying to help her through her fears on how very similar her responses are toward us and what it is I would like to offer her to help her get through a day and actually get through her stuff, her fears and her baggage. Now, let me give you a little bit of background of this mare. When she was younger, by abused, I mean she was physically and emotionally hurt. That meant nobody understood her, nobody was there for her, nobody really cared. They just tried to get the job done. How? So they wanted to ride her, which she's very flighty, very spooky, very reactive, so they couldn't succeed with that, so they forced her. They tied her front and back legs together, they tied her to a post in the middle of the pen, they tried to just throw the saddle up there and tighten it up and let her buck with it till she tore everything to pieces. Then they tried to ride her the same way, and she of course bucked the rider off, and the whole situation ended with them not giving her any water for 3 days, so she would be super weak to accept the rider, and she still would not, whether the saddle nor the rider. And the end result was that she would not even be allowing any human to get close to her. She showed aggressive behavior, but also if she has the chance, she would flee and not let anybody near her. So she became super spooky, super flighty, and really unhandleable and uncatchable and unrideable for anybody that tried. Now, it's very sad for me to see that. I hate when I see that kind of story happening to a horse. And I was thinking about this because many of us have experienced abuse in our childhoods as well. And what is the end result? So I'm looking at how abuse in a horse and how abuse in a human compare, and how do we go about healing it. Right, so as you know, Jesus is always my example, and what does he say? Jesus says to us, come to me and I will give you rest. So what is Jesus offering us? He says, when you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will be with you. Do not fear, I will be with you. What else does he say? I will restore your soul. That's our heart, that's our mind, our will, and our emotions. So it doesn't say you're never going to walk through a valley. It doesn't say no hard things will happen to us in our lives. It doesn't say Jesus is going to make every difficult thing go away and we never have to deal with anything or experience anything that is painful in our lives. But what does he say? Don't go and run away from your circumstances. He doesn't say go and protect yourself. He doesn't say go stick your head in the sand. He doesn't say go shut down. He doesn't say go make everything numb that's painful in your heart and wear a facade. He says, come to me and I will give you rest. So the rest is really not in our circumstances. The rest is in his presence and in his comfort, inside the pain, inside the difficult circumstances. Now, I would like to approach this mare offering her the very same thing. So When I go and interact with her, in her mind, absolutely every single experience with a human has been negative. It's been painful, it's been terrifying, it's been scary. So when she sees a human, just sees a human, yet alone a saddle or a saddle blanket or ropes or halters, when she sees a human, everything that she believes about the human gets triggered. Everything. So her natural reaction is something terrible, horrible is about to happen to me, and I need to save myself and get out of this situation and flee and run away as fast as I can, as far as I can. If the human happens to trap her in a little pen or put somehow a rope or a halter on her head and she can't flee, she's still gonna try. She spooks, she runs away, she pulls away, and if all of that fails, she will go into the next stage of self-protection. It's basically a coping mechanism that she has. What does that look like? Well, it looks like she will shut down. She goes introverted. She stops showing any emotions. She freezes, is introverted, and gets completely shut down and looks outwardly very quiet. And then she just endures whatever we want to do. Move, swing, make a noise. She just endures the whole thing and she's waiting for it to stop. So she's in survival mode and she has already reached a place of, in a human, you would call that hopelessness, giving up, pulling back from life, shutting her heart down, switching off. In a horse, this is close to catatonic. Before they get killed, they will lie still with a J in their tail. Before a lion, tears them apart, they go into this place where nobody's home and they just freeze. So that's what she does. She freezes internally, shuts her heart down, gets super introverted, and just waits and endures whatever we do with her. And for me, that's extremely sad to see. I don't like that at all. It actually breaks my heart. So I've been thinking about this because to help her through this, I need to be with her in all her fears. So anytime a fear gets triggered, I need to be there. And I need to be the one that gives her peace, joy, love, rest, and makes it okay. But I can't make it okay by always taking it away because she's afraid of noise, any tractor noise, any banging, any plastic. She's afraid of everything. So what does that look like? Now, I believe this. She currently is living a life of suffering. Why? During her day, she goes out with other horses or at night and lives in a herd where she experiences peace and joy and comfort and everything is good in her life. But every single day, she is confronted with the very thing that scares her. Humans come and they do stuff with her. Move her from one field to another, put her in a pen. I not mean us, I mean the people that live on this farm. They do it by hollering, by putting pressure on. So every single day, she gets reminded of that pain that she experienced in her life. And she is afraid. So she suffers every single day with the same fear. And I think that's really tragic. So we have a few days, actually, originally we had 30 days, but now we can see that we need a little bit longer. We're expanding it by 2 weeks to help her overcome her fears, which means I can't make the fears go away. I can't take her to my house and my farm and say, hey, you can just live here, we feed you, we brush you, we're nice to you, just relax, humans can be nice. I don't have this option. So with the options that I do have, I need to try to help her through her fears. What does it look like? Okay, to me it looks like this. All her life, in her fears, she has been left alone. Nobody was there. And that is very similar to a lot of us that have suffered abuse or trauma in our childhood. Nobody was there. Nobody was there to speak the truth into our lives. Nobody was there to defend us, to protect us, to care for us. And we still, those of us who have experienced this, have moments where our natural circumstances in our lives, they trigger those memories. Why? Because to every painful memory, a lie is attached. A lie like, I'm powerless, I'm voiceless, I'm helpless, I'm hopeless, there's nothing I can do about this, I just need to somehow survive it. Okay? So, really, many people are in a complete similar situation as this mare, even though, of course, she's a horse, but having similar emotions in a similar situation. So for me, it's like this. I want to be the one in her life that says, I know life is scary. I know circumstances are scary. I know there's a lot of terrible things happening that seem to remind you of your past. But I am with you. Just like Jesus is with me, walking with me through every valley in my life. So I don't have to be afraid because he's with me. And just like Jesus leads me to a place where I can be quiet and my heart gets restored and he restores my soul, I would like to say to this mare, come to me, follow me, come to me and I will give you rest. And with me, you can experience joy and peace and love and you're safe. I promise to protect you. I promise to care for you. I promise that I'll make it better. I promise I explain it to you. So what does that look like? It looks like I am presenting her with the things that she is worried about, like motion, noise, touch, saddle, all of those things. But when she sees those things, I'm going to say, I know you're afraid of those. I know they trigger a lie that you believe, that something terrible, horrible is going to happen. But let me show you it is not so. Because it's actually the lie that is causing the pain, not the actual circumstance. So I'm hanging in there with the mare, walking with her through the valley, walking with her through the deep, dark places. Just like Jesus wants to walk with us into the places, into the memories of our lives, into the deepest recesses of our hearts where pain resides. And he wants to revisit that with us and speak the truth into our hearts and speak light and speak life where we have believed lies and where darkness resides. And light breaks through darkness. And when the light turns on, the darkness disappears. With this horse, what does that look like? I will be with her. Then I move something that scares her. And then she wants to run away. So rather than I let her run away all the way back to the pasture where she thinks, okay, I did the right thing, I fled and I've escaped and survived, this will not help her overcome her fear. This will just teach her to flee more. I am going to say, you can move your feet, we can move when you're afraid, but I'm coming with you. I'm not leaving you alone in this fear. And let me show you that there is nothing to be afraid of. You do not have to worry about this stick swinging here or this saddle swinging here. I promise you it's going to be okay. And I hang in there with her, willing to listen to all that she's saying, all her trauma, all her fear, all her behavior that she's displaying. I basically say, I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to stay with you. I'm not going to give up on you. I promise I will walk through this with you. So that's one aspect. Now, you know, when she gets to a place of displaying the behavior of completely shutting down, a lot of humans do that too. Let me give you an example. Let's say a little girl was abused verbally by her father and she gets very afraid when he's angry and suffers a lot from that. And later she's married to a husband who also raises his voice and gets angry. Most likely, that same little girl that is now an adult woman, or the adult woman that once upon a time was the little girl, is going to display the same behavior than the little girl did. Because if the little girl froze and internally just shut down and waited and endured everything and just waited for it to pass, the adult woman would do the same. So the behavior in the adult woman, rather than process the emotion, have a voice, recognize that her husband is hiding his own pain or he wouldn't take his anger out on her. So rather than the ability to recognize that, oh, wait a minute, my husband's pain causes him anger, which means he has lies in his heart, this has nothing to do with me. So rather than the ability to recognize that, she'll immediately get triggered, or the lie gets triggered that is in the little girl's heart, or was in the little girl's heart, that it's hopeless, she's voiceless, she's powerless and helpless and will shut down. So the adult person can go and freeze, just freeze. The husband is yelling, the wife freezes, can't think, and actually reverts to the emotional age of a 4-year-old, is unable to process the situation correctly, even though right now as an adult woman she's in no danger. The husband is not even maybe necessarily angry with her, he just got his stuff touched. So now the same behavior that she did as a little girl rises up, and the more often that happens, the more often this gets reinforced. 1 second, Chili. Okay, that's really wonderful, but you have to go. Okay, go down. No, go down there. Thank you. Stay there. Sorry about that, but the dog would like to also be in the video. Nobi. Actually, let me let her up. Come. Okay. So you can be over here. That's really good. Really good. So you're not left out, okay? Fine. Okay. So when the same behavior gets practiced over and over and over, it becomes such a pattern, the person feels totally trapped in that. They can't get out, which is very similar what happens with that mare. What's happening? When I keep moving and she finally goes to the place of, okay, I'm scared, I'm too scared, I'm going to go to my, she doesn't actively think that, but I'm going to go to my next coping mechanism, which is shutting down. She'll switch off and endure it. And if I leave her in that place, this is what she will always do. It's never going to change, so she's going to suffer for the rest of her life. So what I've been doing with her is the same thing as you can do with a person. Because if the person goes into 4-year-old freeze mode, as an adult person, you can speak the truth in love to them. You can say, hey, the husband could say, I'm really angry right now because I'm in pain. However, I want you to know that I do love you and I am for you, okay? But he doesn't leave his wife in that place of a 4-year-old frozen little child. How? Okay? Also by saying, can you see that you have just gone back into that behavior, and are you able to make a different choice? Are you able to make a different choice because you are no longer that child? You are no longer in that abusive situation. It is not your reality anymore. So I hope you can see that with this horse here, because are you breathing heavily in the camera? I think so. Okay. I'm sorry about this loud breathing noise here. Okay, so when you can see what I do with this mare, or if you could see it while I'm doing it, it can look horrible. I don't like it myself, because on one side, I'm doing stuff that's clearly scary to her, and that doesn't look like very nice. But I don't have a choice, or she's never going to overcome the stuff. I actually have to revisit her fears with her, but then with a different result. I say, hey, I'm here. You can find peace and rest with me despite this flapping stuff going on. And if she can find that place, she can find peace despite stuff swinging around. But if she goes into shutdown mode and I leave her there, then that is going to become stronger and stronger and stronger, and the horse keeps suffering. So don't leave her in that mode either. I'm asking her to pick a different behavior, to choose to come out of it. How? I say, it's different. I am not the same I am not the same as these people were that treated you. I'm somebody else. Try. Try to come out of this. Try to choose. Try to trust. And it basically means I offer her love, peace, and joy. I offer her that I'm right there with her. I don't change my inside. I don't get like frustrated with her or impatient or anything. I'm just there offering her peace. And I wait for her to join me. Now, with both behaviors, the fear and the shutdown, it's interesting because it's the same as for us, you know. Sometimes I know the mare really wants to come to me, but she just can't make it, too afraid. And other times, I know she doesn't want to. And she doesn't even want to try because she doesn't believe it's going to work or it's going to be different. She's totally stuck on her lie that something terrible, horrible will happen. So I kind of have to show her that that's not the case. So I'm trying to bring truth to her. I'm trying to speak the truth, not with my English voice, but I'm trying to demonstrate the truth to her in love rather than reinforce her lies. So I hope this helps you and brings a little bit of understanding, but I believe that is exactly what the Lord is saying to us too. Jesus says, I am here for you. Come to me. I will give you rest. When you walk through the valleys, I will walk with you, no matter how scary it looks, no matter how terrible it is to experience it. I am with you, and you do not have to be afraid because I'm the one that gives you peace and joy and love and restores your soul. So Jesus also never gets impatient with us. He never gives up on us. No matter how many times we hit the same stuff or deal with the same issue, he's always willing to listen. He's there, he understands. And he understands our pain. He cares for us. He's there for us. And he will never leave us nor forsake us. So it's very important to know that. And I'm trying to be that very same, the way Jesus is to me, I'm trying to be to this mare. Now, just like she has a choice to follow me, to choose to trust me, to try, we have that too. Okay? Have a great day.